Good morning. Good morning. Hey, I'm excited to be speaking with you today about a very special topic that's near and dear to me. And that topic is how to generate instant sales for your business without hiring a salesperson. And guess what? This works even if you hate, selling. So essentially, that is the topic that we will be covering today. And we'll be covering that topic just to help businesses generate more sales without hiring a salesperson. So the reason why this topic is important to me, so it's for a couple of reasons, and I'll explain to you what those reasons are. But essentially, not so long ago, I saw an article on Forbes, and the article was essentially about why 90% of startups fail. Essentially, the title is 90% of startups fail, and here's what you need to know about the other 10%. Now, when I saw this article, I looked at it from two different perspectives. One perspective is, hey, I say this seems like something that a college student might have to do a presentation on, they might have to do a project on. If I were a college student and I had to write about this, I would take it serious. The other perspective is that some people are actually living this. So, for me, I'm on the second end of the spectrum because although I would take this serious if I had to do a presentation, if I had to do a college project, it wouldn't hit as close to home. It wouldn't have the same effect when you're living this, when you're interacting with people on a regular basis that is going through this. It has a bigger impact, so to speak, and and it hits closer to home. So this has hit very close to home to me for the following reasons. Reason number one is that I host a local meetup in my local area, and the host, as the host of the meetup, I'm responsible to help. I'm responsible for helping local business owners implement marketing into their business. So they come to this meetup with the goal of learning marketing strategies to help grow their business. So I hear stories like, "Hey, this is my second business. This is my third business. My marketing has failed in the past. I don't know how to generate new customers." So on and so forth. So, I have lived this whereby I've had businesses that were not successful because of this specific topic that we'll be covering. And I've interacted and engaged with other businesses as well that haven't had much success for this exact same reason as well. Reason number three is that one of the individuals that I interacted with through my meetup actually lived this story, and the way that she lived this story. Let me tell you, her story, just to kind of elaborate on, how she lived this story. So essentially, this person, just imagine having a business, starting a business, and it's a good business. That business provide good, very good products and services. And as a result, getting your first customer was not an issue. So, hey, you open up shop, you find your first customer very easily. That first customer is happy with the products or services that you provide, and as a result they refer you, and you continue to receive referrals from the people that you provide services to for about 3 months, and then after 3 months the referrals kind of dry out. So after referrals dried out, what this individual did was this individual went out and hired a salesperson. That was the next logical thing for her to do. She hired a salesperson, and the salesperson didn't work out for two reasons. Reason number one, the salesperson just was not a good fit. Reason number two, she could no longer afford to pay this salesperson. So because she could no longer afford to pay the salesperson, now and plus she didn't have a way of recruiting new customers into her business. Her business was essentially collapsing right around her. She basically watching her business fall to the ground. So we had to come up with a solution, and the solution for her is what I call an automated webinar. It's an automated webinar because it's a presentation that allows the business owner to present his or her products or services to masses and to a large audience, to warm them up so that way they can become buying customers. And we'll dive in very deep as we go through this presentation today. So the webinar was a solution, as I mentioned, webinars as a solution, and why. Webinar, it's one of the fastest ways to turn prospects from cold to hot. It costs a lot less than hiring a salesperson. Mind you, this person couldn't afford to hire a salesperson. It doesn't call out sick. It automates the selling process. It allows you to gain authority and quickly get your audience to like and trust you. So that was the solution. I wanted to compare and see how webinars are being used out in the marketplace. How are businesses using webinars compared to other methods for acquiring new customers? And when I looked at it, webinars, when I looked at it compared to other type of methodologies to acquire new customers, webinars was number two on the list. You look at things such as social media, case studies, blogs; those things are the top three. But webinars were not highly used across the board as it relates to a methodology for acquiring new customers. So then I wanted to kind of just look at some other articles and say, okay, is article or webinars great? So I wanted to kind of just compare it. And when I did some searches online, I did find many different articles that kind of just supported why webinars are great for businesses. We'll talk about all of those reasons in this presentation today, but essentially, this is just one of the articles that I found on Google that basically just proved and just backed it up. There's many different sources that back up the fact that webinars are great for every business. Essentially, this one right here, gives 10 reasons, and we'll cover all of those reasons throughout this presentation. But I wanted to kind of just see, hey, are webinars really great for businesses? And I wanted to kind of just find some sources that talked about it. And there's plenty of sources online that talks about the fact that webinars are great. Why don't more businesses use webinars? So webinars are great. Why don't more businesses use more webinars to acquire new users? It probably, from the outside looking in, it probably looks very intimidating. They don't know where to get started and how to structure for maximum output. They think they need to know selling techniques. And, hence this presentation. This presentation is going to give you specific framework for webinars, how to present content for webinars, how to structure webinars. So this presentation is going to demystify that whole, oh my gosh, this is too hard, I don't know how to structure it type of mindset. So what is a marketing webinar? How can it work for your business? It's a methodology that you use for marketing. You use it specifically to try to acquire new customers. You use it to engage and communicate with new customers so that way they can like and trust you very quickly. It's a marketing mechanism specifically engineered to motivate your prospects to buy, even if you hate selling. Essentially, when you do a marketing webinar, you're educating your prospects. You're not essentially selling, you're educating and you're motivating them. And by you educating and motivating them, you're moving them closer to the buying spectrum. That's essentially what you're doing. A marketing, the marketing webinar will essentially, just help them just get, much more closer to you as the business owner. So just a little bit about, my background, specifically. I think I mentioned earlier, I host a local meetup. I host a meetup in my local area. And the reason why I do that is just so I can kind of engage and help as many businesses as possible. And essentially, I do that for a couple of reasons. I do it just to challenge myself. And how am I challenging myself? I'm challenging myself because I get a variety of different businesses that come to this meetup with certain challenges that they're having. And I am tasked, if I'm the person that's in front of the room, that's standing up doing the teaching, I am tasked with trying to help them find solutions to their marketing issues. So it keeps me sharp. It keeps me kind of going. It gives me the opportunity to see different perspectives from different business owners. And plus, you're interacting and engaging with real businesses. You're not just kind of just making things up. So I do it just to kind of keep myself sharp and keep myself going. I've successfully built WordPress websites. So it's another thing that I'm very comfortable with. I'm very comfortable with building websites via WordPress. I've built a dating site. I've built Fly Barbers. I've built other websites that businesses and customers can engage with. I've written a book, 2 Hour Marketing Secrets. It's essentially just a book that allows business owners to get a grasp of marketing tactics and strategies they can implement into their business. So that is a little bit about me. Now, this presentation that I'm going to be doing today, who is this presentation for? Presentation can benefit the following. They can benefit coaches. So if you're a coach, you coach other people. If you are an expert, if you're a consultant, if you're a course builder, if you sell information online, if you sell courses online, if you want more customers, if you want to charge more, if you want more freedom, this presentation is indeed for you. How will this training be different? What will you learn? You'll essentially learn things from this training, and specifically, you're going to learn that your business can consistently generate sales without hiring a salesperson. And you're going to learn how to create a great content for your webinar without having writer's block, and you'll learn how to get consistent leads to attend your webinar without wasting any money on your marketing. So those are the things that you'll learn by the end of this presentation. If you stay to the end, I do have a very special offer for you. If you stay to the end, this offer is not available to anyone else. It's not available anywhere else. So I encourage you to stay to the end for a very special offer. You won't regret it. I guarantee you. All right, conversion rates. So conversion rates are basically just to kind of just elaborate um, on this chart for conversion rate. Conversion rates are basically when a customer or prospect takes action when they go to your website. If they go to your website and you're asking them to download something, if they download something, they're basically taking an action. If you're asking them for for their email address, when they give you their email address, that's a conversion. If you're asking them to call you, if they're picking up the phone and they're calling you, that's a conversion. That's an action that they're taking once they engage with your website or your content. If you ask them to book an appointment, that's a conversion because they're taking a specific action after they engage with your website and or your content. Across the board, according to this chart from WordStream, the conversion rate across the board, across many different industries, is below 2%. What I want to do today is I want to basically teach you guys some things that's going to position you to be able to get a much higher conversion rate. Below 2%, it's not necessarily all that good. So some of the things we're going to learn today is going to position you to be able to kind of just increase your conversion rate. It's going to be able to position you to increase your conversion rate. Now, I want you to do this for me. I want you to just imagine. Can you just imagine being able to interact, engage with your prospects, and answer all of their objections before it even comes up? Can you imagine being able to quickly build rapport with your audience, getting them to like and trust you? Imagine having an automated sales process which free you from begging people to do business with you. Imagine not having to hire a salesperson to do the selling for you. Imagine using a proven system to quickly turn prospects cold to hot. All of the above is possible through a marketing driven webinar. Um, so essentially, the thought process, at least for me, was that, hey, hiring a salesperson is the most effective way to generate consistent sales for your business. That at least that was the thought process. But then again, I was proven wrong. Specifically, the source story that I told you earlier of the business owner, she was proven wrong as well. Because what happens when you hire the wrong person? You end up wasting money on someone who just doesn't give you results. You waste time. You waste time and results on the wrong business activity. And then if your goal is to try and terminate that person because they're not necessarily performing, depending on your company, it could be a long drawn out process. Because here it is. So here it is. You spending more time on the wrong individual, someone that's just not giving you, the results. So since that is not the most effective way to acquire new customers, I had to choose a more cost effective and automated system. So there's two ways that you can go. You can go the old way, and the old way is basically you pay a salesperson annually. That's the old way. You can manage a non-performing knucklehead. That's the old way. However, I choose to go the new way. And the new way in this specific instance is a marketing driven webinar to sell your products and services. You do it once, you do it the right way, and let it do the marketing and selling for you. That's the new way. And that's the way that we'll be discussing, out with the old and with the new. I'm sure you've heard that saying before. Marketing driven webinar. Businesses are now realizing that education based webinars helps them reach more people online. Its goal is to educate prospects and thereby quickly build rapport, which helps makes more sales. That is the goal. A marketing driven webinar is ideal for your business because it provides value to your prospects in advance. So even if prospects don't buy from you, the webinar is designed to give them value and help them to remember you. You pay for it once and receive value over and over again. It educates your target audience based on their desires. It converts customers in mass. It doesn't call out sick or give you an attitude. You might be saying, Vladimir, I understand the benefits of a webinar and how it can help my business, but how in the world will I know what to write or say on the webinar? That is what we're going to be discussing next. Great webinar content. So how to create valuable webinar content without having writer's blocks. Essentially, what I thought when I was first presented with webinars, when I first attended webinars to learn about webinars and just to kind of just watch other people's webinars, I said to myself, man, only people with years of experience can structure webinar content. There is no way I can write content to attract people. Only gurus can write content that compels people to take action. I'm not privy to that type of knowledge. I'm not privy to that type of skill set. That's essentially the mindset that that I took, and because of that, because it just seems so intimidating, I went ahead and I followed the pattern of non-experienced marketers, and basically what the non-experienced marketers do is that they create a digital flyer with their services, and they just kind of just promote it all over the place. So if that person offers website design, search engine optimization, landing page services, email marketing, they just kind of list all of those services on a digital flyer and just pass it around, or share it on Facebook, or just kind of just spam it all over the place and say, hey, this is what I do, hire me, so to speak. They don't educate their prospects. They don't do any of that stuff. They just kind of just create digital flyers, or just list their services and just kind of just spread it out to as many people as possible. And then I started to just kind of just compare that type of strategy to someone who takes the time to educate their prospects, motivate their prospect, and basically tell their prospect how they can help them be more solution focused and help them to go from a sad face to a happy face. Specifically, the way that I compared this to, say, if two different types of people are going for a job interview. So think about this. Think about if you're going for a job interview and you're the employer, and you are interviewing two people. Person number one, what that person does is that person kind of follows the pattern of a non-experienced marketer, and that person just kind of just lists their credentials and say, hey, these are the credentials that I have, hire me. That person doesn't provide any explanations. They don't elaborate. They don't educate you. They don't tell you how they can solve any problems for you. They don't do any of that. They just basically list their credentials and say, hey, I have these credentials, hire me, into the conversation. But then again, you have person number two, and what person number two basically educates you on why he is the best person for the job. He tells you how he can solve problems for your company. He outlines basically a plan of action for hypothetical scenarios. He tells you processes that he's implemented in the past and what the results were of those processes. He tells you how he's going to work through conflicts and overcome objections. So this person really educates you about who they are. They educate you how they're going to benefit your company, and they basically give you a thorough review of how they're going to be the best employee there is. I think from a logical standpoint, you're going to go with person number two, because person number two took the time to educate you, to basically walk you through how he or she is going to be a rock star for your company. Well, when you think about this from a prospect standpoint, so if if prospects are looking to buy your products and services, same thing. Are they going to go with the person that just has a digital flyer that says, hey, I do this, 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 and this, hire me? Or are they going to go with the person Are they going to go with the marketer that takes the time to educate them, to walk them through, their pain points, and tell them, hey, I understand this is your pain point. Now, here is how my service can help you, solve that pain point, and here's how my service can take you to a more happier place in life. Obviously, you're going to go with the person that's going to educate you and it's going to kind of just walk you through that process. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, it makes more sense to go with the route of educating prospects, because if you want, your prospects have options. So if all that you're presenting is just a digital flyer of your products and your services, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table, and you're not making yourself very very competitive as it relates to the competitive nature of the options that your prospects have. So then again, hey, I said, you know what? Based on that analogy, based on that story, it makes sense to, learn how to engage, how to create engaging webinar content, for people, and how to do that without having writer's block. And once you learn to do that, you'll be able to stop, staring at a blank screen. You'll be able to learn, to stop spending weeks trying to figure out how to write your webinar content, because that was me. I was in that exact same scenario of, okay, how do I stop looking at a blank screen? Okay, how do I stop spending weeks trying to figure out how to write webinar content? How do I stop following the same path of non-experienced marketers? And how do I do all of this without having the writer's block? I was in that exact same shoe, but I knew that I had to learn that skill, because learning that skill would position me to be able to outdo the non-experienced marketers, the marketers that just kind of just, you know, provide a digital flyer of their products and services and just say, hey, hire me. So then again, I came up with a framework, and this is the framework that I'm going to be discussing with you today. The framework to specifically help you put together content for your webinar. It is a 3-part framework. Okay. So this is, you really I want you to really pay attention to this and take some notes, because this is going to be a game changer for you. And it's going to essentially help you to be able to easily be able to produce content for your target audience going forward. So the very first step of this framework is what I call problem solution. In every scenario, and every time you get together to produce content or to write content for your target audience, you're addressing one problem at a time, and you're addressing one problem at a time, and you're providing one solution. So your prospects, they have big problems that they're facing right now. They have things that they're stressing about. They have things that are not working. So those things that are not working, your job is, you need to think of, okay, this person is having this big problem right now. What solution can I provide them to the problem? And I'm going to show you some examples. So remember, this is the first step of the framework. As an example, one of the problems that your target market can be having, or target market can be having right now, is that they could be saying to themselves, I'm not getting any conversions on my website. So as the marketer, as you prepare to produce content for your target market, what you're going to do is your solution, your solution is going to be three steps to increase website conversion. You see how we easily flip that. We're looking at, once you take a look at it from a problem perspective, you can easily just go into the solution. Hey, this is the problem that my target market is having. I know this is the problem that they're having. So then I'm going to provide a solution. I'm going to start to produce content that is solution oriented. So if you begin to produce content that's specifically solution oriented, that is going to position you to really be a winner. So 3 steps to increase website conversion. That type of content is addressing a specific problem, and that specific problem is that I'm not getting any website conversion. Now, you can see how this is very different from the other approach. And the other approach was just, hey, I provide website design services, right? You're not saying that you provide website design services. You're speaking from a solution standpoint, because specifically you're addressing a specific problem that your target market is having, and that is conversion. You're saying 3 steps. You're saying, hey, here are 3 steps to increase your website conversion. So you're speaking to a problem that your prospect is having, and thereby they will be more prone to engage with you. Another example of a problem is that I can't get any free traffic from Google. Then your solution can be, you can begin to write your content around this specific solution, and this specific solution being 4 steps to optimize website conversion. 4 steps to optimize your website for free traffic from Google. Now you see how that's so different. You see how that's so different from saying, hey, I do search engine optimization services, right? You're speaking to a specific problem. You're saying, hey, here are 4 steps to optimize your website for free, for free traffic from Google. So you're speaking directly to the problem. You're speaking directly to what your prospects are having. So when you start to kind of speak from a solution standpoint, you'll be able to start writing from a solution standpoint, and thereby engage your audience. Think about this as a headline: 4 steps to optimize your website for free traffic from Google. Right? Let's just compare this to, say, um, someone that's following the digital flyer approach that just says, um, you know, free website traffic, or that just says, you know, Google traffic services, right? It's not as engaging. This is much more. This is much more engaging. Another problem is I can't afford to pay a web builder high fees to build a website. Solution: how to build your first website for under $100. So, as you can see, these are addressing, specific problem. And when you think about it that way, when you structure it that way, you begin to produce content that's going to engage your audience. And then once you start to write in that way, immediately you can kind of just, your content will flow just that much more easier. Once I know that, hey, I'm going to be writing about a specific solution, and that solution is that I need to provide 4 steps to optimize website for free traffic from Google, right? The rest of my content is going to flow so much more easier because of that mindset shift, right? Before that, I had no idea. I was like, okay, what am I going to write about? How am I going to structure my content? I had no idea how I was going to structure my content. But when I started thinking about it from a, hey, I'm solving a specific problem in the marketplace, the minute I thought about it from that standpoint, I thought about, okay, what big problem is my audience facing right now? They're experiencing the problem that they're experiencing is that they can't get any free traffic from Google. Now I can immediately start to write for them. I can immediately say, okay, here are the steps I'm gonna walk them through that's gonna help them get more free traffic from Google. So that shift just puts you in a state to immediately write for a solution and to immediately engage your prospect. Okay. So, once again, that is the first step of the framework. Once you have this first step, it just gets you in a mindset to really start to write for your prospect and to really get them engaged. Okay. The second step of the framework is, okay, now that you've made a claim, you say, hey, I can help you do this. I can help you solve this problem. I can help you solve, this problem, that problem. The next step is the next step of the framework. The second step of the framework is called claim proof benefits. And basically, the formula for this step is that you're going to make one valid claim, 2 proof points, 3 benefits that they will experience. So in this section, you're just going to kind of just elaborate a little bit more. So you've addressed, you've acknowledged that, hey, I know what your problem is, prospect. I have a solution for you. And now you're going to elaborate on that a little bit more. That way they can understand the steps that you're going to take them through. So essentially, one valid claim. That's the first step of this framework. A claim is very easy. It's very easy to make a claim. Your claim could be that, hey, I have a formula that's going to help your business earn 3 times as more income in the next 3 months. Hey, I have a solution to get you more muscles. Hey, I have a solution to get you more traffic, right? I can very easily make that claim. Okay, claims are very, very easy to make. Not proofs, you got to be able to, to provide proof of that claim. And what I want to do right now is I want to walk you through some proof points so that way you can see what type of proof you can show your audience. The first proof point is what we call logic proof. And basically, logic proof is basically you walking your prospects um, through the proof from a logical standpoint. So, for as an example, If I'm telling this, and if I'm telling someone that, hey, in order to build the website, they need to first get a domain name, then get hosts, and then get website building, building platform. I'm telling them the logical steps that they have to go through to build the website. So basically, I'm telling them, hey, step A has to come before step C, so on and so forth. So you're basically showing them logical proof. A visual proof can be photos, charts, tables, videos. As an example, if I am providing some type of website traffic services, I can say, hey, in the past, I've taken websites who were only getting, 100 people to their websites a month. After they've engaged in my services, after they bought my services, I've been able to raise their traffic to 500 people a month. So you can provide a chart just to kind of just show that, or you can provide tables, you can provide videos, you can provide, I'm sorry, visual proof to show that, demonstrate proof. You can demonstrate actual proof. By showing them how your specific product works. So, for example, if I have a landing page software and I say, hey, this landing page software can help you build a landing page in 20 minutes or less. You can go online. You can actually demonstrate that to them. You can show them. You can let them. You can have them watch you build the website, a landing page, in less than 30 minutes, for example. That's one of the things that you can do through demonstrate proof. Next is before and after. Basically, this one here is it's pretty self-explanatory. Hey, before this person used my services, they were only making $100 a month. Now after, they are making $300 a month. Hey, here's a snapshot of this person's Google Analytics before before they bought my traffic getting course. They were only getting 15 people per month, and now they're getting 300 people to come to their website a month. Hey, before this person took part in my training program, they they were taking 3 hours to complete this task, and now they can complete this task in 10 minutes. So you want to basically outline before and after. Hey, this is where you're at now, and this is where you're going to be after you take advantage of my products or services. Third party data is important. Just like when you're in school, when you're in college, you can't just write a paper based on your opinion only. You have to use sources. You have to use other sources. You want to use recognized sources, because when you use recognized sources, you're basically showing individuals that, hey, you're not the only one that's saying that. So as I'm here talking to you about webinars, I had to pull some sources to say, hey, you know what, this article says webinars are great. That person says our webinars are great, so on and so forth. So third party data is very, very helpful because that shows additional proof. Give them reasons why. Given reasons why, is you're saying that, hey, here's why you should do this. Okay. So for an automated webinar, for example, here's why a automated webinar is going to benefit your business. Reason number one is that it saves you money on hiring a salesperson. Reason number two, you don't have to deal with the knucklehead. Reason number three, you can automate it and you can speak to as many people as possible. Reason number four, it allows you to quickly engage and educate and motivate your prospects so that way they can like and trust you. So, reasons why. This is the reason why you should buy my products or services. The next one is authoritative proof. Authoritative proof is basically if you have people in your industry that are authority, that are well known and well respected in your specific space, and then you can use those individuals as examples, because those individuals are kind of mini celebrities in that in your field. So, for example, if I'm talking about sales funnels, if I'm talking about building funnels, I can make reference to, say, Russell Brunson, for example. He is very popular in that domain as it relates to funnels and sales funnels. He's well known, so you can use people who are well known and say, hey, you know what? I'm not the only one that's saying that sales funnels are great. Here's a well-known person in the marketplace that also talks about sales funnels. So use authoritative proof. So after you make the claim, right, you're going to use proof just to say, hey, here's the reason. Here are some proof points as to why this is what it is. Here's some proof points as to why this is great. I've been giving you proof all along. I've made a claim at the beginning of this, and the claim is how to generate instant sales in your business without hiring a salesperson. So hey, that was my claim, and then I've been kind of just showing you some different proof points. You can, a reason why you don't need a salesperson, reason why you can automate it. So, I've been doing this exact same thing as it relates to this specific webinar that you're on, right now. I made a claim, I've shown some proof, and then the next part of it is benefits. So the benefits can be before using your service and then after. So before using the service, you were here, you were spending a whole lot of money on salesperson, you're paying this person's medical insurance, you was doing this, you was doing that. And then after using my service, you're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Where are your prospects now, essentially, and where do they want to go after using your products or services? Highlight the before and then the after. It's got to be a benefit, right? So point out 3 benefit points, 3 benefit examples, so that your prospects can see that, oh, okay, this person's provided me with many different benefits as to why I should use their products or services, right? So just to kind of recap for this wonderful framework, this framework that's going to make a huge difference in your writing, huge difference in your content building for your webinar, is that first of all, we shifted our mind on writing content for a solution. We want to be very solution oriented in writing our content. Once you're very solution oriented, that in itself gives you a great framework to just start writing. Because anytime you start to write content and it's not solving a specific solution, you're going to kind of bring yourself right back to writing a solution. So if I start to write content and that content is talking about something that's not solving the problem of my prospect, it brings me right back, because I know that, hey, you know what, you should be writing for solution only. After I know that I'm writing for solution, I'm going to make one big claim. I make the big claim. I'm not just going to make a claim. I got to provide proof. This claim, I'm making this claim for this reason, and these are the proofs for the claim. You just have to have 2 proof points, and I gave you many different examples that you can use as it relates to those proof points. And then number 3 is benefits. You want to go ahead and just outline the benefits. Okay. Okay. So now that you have a great framework for communicating with your prospects, a great framework for creating content for your webinar. The next thing is how do I get leads? How do I get people to show up for my webinar? And I want to be able to do this without wasting any money. So that is the next step. The next step is how to get consistent leads for your webinar without wasting any money. What is the appropriate methodology to use to follow? What I followed at the beginning, and this is not what you're going to be following, by the way, but this is what I followed at the beginning. At the beginning, I followed the billboard model. And basically what the billboard model is that, I would list all of my services that I offer, and I say, hey, I offer this service, that service, call me. So if you do that on an advertising platform such as Facebook or Google, that's what I was doing, and that wasn't the right thing, to do. Essentially, let's just say that the results, were pretty bad, because I was trying to. It was bad for many reasons. I was trying to target many different customer segments at once. So here's an example: if I run a law firm, and that law firm offers many different services. So let's just say that law firm offers adoption services, DUI services, bankruptcy services. They may offer immigration services. So think about, a law firm that offers 4 different services, and I'm running an ad to try and find customers for all 4 of those customer segmentations at once on a platform such as Facebook. It is not going to work, because those 4 different types of individuals are trying to solve different problems. They're looking for different solutions. They're not looking for the same exact solution. And if I try to speak to all of them at once, I will not be able to get any of them at all. Right? Remember earlier, we talked about addressing one problem at a time. We talked about, being very solution oriented. If you're trying to, speak to 5 people at once, these 5 people have different needs. You're not being very solution oriented. So that's the problem that's what I was doing, and hence why I wasted a lot of money on marketing, right? So for you, you're not going to do that same thing because you're learning here today that methodology is not is not effective. So for that reason, I've told you what is not effective. Let me show you what is effective. So as you will see, I want to show you an example of an ad that addresses one problem at a time, and um, and the framework that I use um, to create a highly engaging Facebook ad. So, as an example, right, I'm going to read this text for you, this Facebook ad for you, and I'll go through the elements. So here are the elements of a high converting Facebook ad. Um, so this ad reads, and I'll break it down to you after I read it for you. You want to build a conversion focused website without confusion and frustration. So here I'm basically starting off with a problem. I'm highlighting the fact that, hey, I know that you have a problem. You want to build a high conversion website without confusion and frustration. So I'm starting off with a problem focused headline. And then I'm suggesting that, hey, I have a solution. And the next part talks about the solution. The solution is download our free 6-step guide, which will help you build your very own conversion focused website. This works even if you have no tech skills. It's a simple step-by-step system you can use to build your website. Plus, you can build this website in less than 1 hour, right? So I am speaking to one specific audience right now. I'm speaking to someone who wants to build the conversion focused website, and they want to do it without confusion and frustration. Note, I am not listing all of my products and services. I'm not saying that, hey, I offer website services, I offer search engine optimization, I offer email marketing. I'm not giving them some digital flyer that's going to talk about all of my products and services and invite them to call me. I am not taking the billboard approach by listing all of my services and saying, hey, call me. I am being very strategic. I am addressing one specific audience. I'm addressing one problem at a time. Okay. When you do that, that's going to increase your conversion, and that's going to help you to not waste any money on marketing. And so you have the framework is you start off with addressing with addressing the problem. That was the problem, and then next you go to the solution, and then after the solution, you ask them to take action. Your call to action in this specific instance, the call to action for your audience in this specific action is, yes, I want the free guide now. So they click on yes, I want the free guide now, and it's going to take them to to your website. So here's the next big problem. The next big problem that usually happens is that people take, after they have an ad on Facebook, they take their audience to their homepage. And guess what their homepage talks about? Their homepage talks about all of the products and services that they offer. It talks about, hey, I offer this product, this service, that service. So it's not congruent. So then the customer, the prospect, gets lost in looking at all of their products and your services. That is not the right thing to do. You will waste money if you send people to your homepage to talk about everything that you offer. This is not the time. You want to be as congruent as possible. Remember, you're solving one problem right now. That one problem is you're speaking to someone who wants to build a conversion focused website. They don't want to know about email marketing, search engine optimization. This is not the time to be talking about this. So then again, I'm going to show you a landing page example that you can use to be congruent, so that way the message is consistent. Guess what? The message is going to be so consistent that it's going to be the exact same message. Exactly. That's right. You're not going to send them to a page that's going to distract them. You're not going to send them to a page that just starts to talk about you and all that other mumbo jumbo. You're going to send them to a page that basically addresses the exact same thing, the exact same content that they saw on Facebook. So here's what they're going to see when they arrive to your page after they click on your call to action on Facebook. Is going to take them to a page, and that page is going to only have this content. It's not going to have anything else on it. It's going to start off with saying, hey, want to build a conversion focused website without the confusion and frustration. So this is a problem focused headline. Say, hey, I know you have this problem, and then it's going to go into the solution. Nope, this is the exact same thing they saw on Facebook. Nothing different. The solution is going to be download our free 6-step guide, which help you build your very own conversion focused website. This works even if you have no tech skills. Simple step-by-step system so you can build your website. Plus, you can build this website in less than 1 hour. Note the solution is the exact same thing they saw, and note that I am telling them I know you have a problem, and I am going to focus on your solution. And in call to action, yes, I want the free guide now. They click yes. They say, yes, I want the free guide now. And then after they do that, that's going to allow them to download your guide. So now you see how this is so much more different than using the billboard approach. You see how this is, so much more effective than say, hey, I'm going to talk about all of my products and my services. And then when I send them to my website, I'm going to confuse them even more, although I know they only have just this one problem. You see how this can help you to really save money on your marketing and not confuse your prospects. Okay. That is the framework that you want to use so that way you don't lose any money. You don't lose any money on your marketing. So as a recap, here's what we've discussed so far. We've discussed that your business can get consistent leads without a salesperson. We've discussed how you can create marketing webinar. How you can create content, for your marketing webinar without having writer's blocks. And then we've discussed how to get consistent leads for your webinar without wasting any money. Those are the things that we have discussed on today's webinar. Wanted to make sure that provide this information to you because it's going to help you to do more and to get more out of your business. That's my time. Talk to you soon.